today I have not been on here in a long time, and I do not have that much time because I have to be somewhere relatively sooner than later. So I'm gonna make this very quick. So I'm gonna do like 15 minutes. All right. So my name is Miss Sam. I am the administrator at Taylor Active Learning, A. Academy. We're located in the city of Cleveland in the state of Ohio. And we serve children 6 weeks to 12 years of age. Once they hit 13, we no longer provide care. And I have children of my own. I actually do like children. I think that raising a child is very difficult. I have raised two different sets of children in two different stages of my life. And it's interesting because the older children know that there is a difference between how they were raised and how the younger ones were raised. So children know off the top. But picking a school for your kid is a very detailed and time-consuming decision. And one of the traits that I realized I had with all of my children that has allowed me to be successful in many different areas is persistence. And what does that look like? So when my daughter was born, I knew she was really smart. Like, I was at home one day because I had quit my job and we were at home. She was watching PBS Kids because that's what all my little kids that I have, that's the only station they watch, which is now off the air. And she knew everything they were saying on PBS Kids. Now, PBS Kids is not like the little cartoon down the street. It's actually like educational things that kids should know. And because she had watched it so much, she knew what they was gonna say. I'm like, dang, my daughter could remember everything this cartoon is saying on PBS Kids. This girl must be smart. And then she was answering the right questions. So because I knew that my daughter was smart, I also knew that I couldn't just put her in any old school. So I had to be very strategic in the school that she went to, which required me to do research on my area that I'm in to find the best school for my daughter. Now, my son, because I was a single mom, my son what I look back now in my life, my son learned how to be a hard worker. So he compensated for not being able to necessarily read what was in writing, or maybe he wasn't the best student, but he is the best worker. So my son, when he gets a job, everybody loves him on the job. Why? Because he shows up. He shows up to work. He does what he's told to do. He does his job. He makes sure his area is clean. His boss calls him on the phone. My son shows up to do his. My son is there. If my son makes a mistake, let's say they joking because they know my son is a really go-getter, right? My son will show up to fix his mistakes. He don't care if it's his day off. If they call him and say, hey man, your station, the such and such is backed up, my son is, and at the time he was on a bike. Now this is my son as an adult. He's riding a bike because he don't have a car. He is on a bike, riding his bike to work to go fix something. And then he show up and they're like, oh man, we was just joking with you. My son is such a good worker that the boss was sad to see him leave, but the boss could only pay him a certain amount of money because my son was the most reliable worker. My son learned that from me. So I'm saying is, what I'm talking about today is simply like, you have to show up. And that's what I taught my children. I got my daughter into one of the best schools in our county. One of the top all girls schools in our county because I showed up. Everything they had, I was there. When they said it was for parents only, I was there. When they said it was for little girls, like you could bring your children and the parent could come, we were there. They knew us. We were there so much at the school that the lady said, you could probably do the tour on your own. Like, you don't really need us. Like, there's nothing else that we can really tell you about the school. Like, you come to everything. Yes, because I need you to recognize my face. I need you to recognize my daughter's face. I need you to recognize my name. I need you to recognize my daughter's name. So when it's time for admissions into or acceptance into your school, she will be selected. I will be selected. Why? Because there is nothing that I have not attended that this school has. I don't care if it's a basketball game. Well, no, we didn't go to basketball games, but it was pretty much is a good, yeah, he is. He really is. And so when I look at my two children, I have one child who's really, really smart, but she doesn't like to put in any effort because it's just natural to her, right? People naturally like her. People naturally want to be around her. When she speaks, she actually knows what she's talking about, right? And so people who are smart want to be with smart people. People who are lazy, they want to be with a smart person because they want to try to convince the smart person to do their work. And so with my son though, I was able to get him into schools that fit his personality. So he didn't have a father because I was a single, he does have a father, but I was a single mom. So I was able to get my son into all boys schools. I thought it would be important for him to be around other males who were adults, and it was important for him to be around a lot of boys because in my family it's a lot of women. So my son was like the first boy that was born within our family. And so it was important that he was always around males. And so because of that, I tried to get him, a lot of his education was in all boys schools, schools that supported male learning, how males learn, environments that thrived off of males, and how they operate in society. Those were the type of environments I put my son in. I actually got my son into the best high school, even though I knew they were racist. And did he stay long? No, he stayed for one semester because they were racist. And he went to another boys' high school. He couldn't go to his first choice because they didn't accept boys in the middle of the semester. So for my son, what I learned from him is that I needed to learn how to, as his mother, listen to him and listen to his needs and support him, which was different from my daughter and my daughters. Like, I don't know what it's like to be a male. I don't know what it's like, to go through society as a black male because I'm not neither one of those. I know what it's like from my perspective on being a woman, with an African American woman with 4 kids and no husband, and the assumptions that people assume. And I've even been told people are shocked when they find out that I have children. They're like, "You got kids?" Like, yeah, like, how you able to do all of this? Because this is my job. Like, this is how I support my children and myself. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do my children eat. And I can't clothe them, and we can't go on vacation, and we can't do some other things. But with that being said, I thought it was important that my son be around males, right? And I learned from that situation that I have to fall back when it comes to my son, right? I can't necessarily, I can't lead him because he is going to be the leader, but I can nurture him. I can provide a nurturing environment for him, a supportive environment for him. I can teach, what I did teach my son was how to work hard, how to hustle, right? How no is never an answer. You always show up. Even now, trying to convince him, like, dude, your life is really dope. Like, I think you should tell everybody about your life. And he's like, nah, I don't think so. I'm like, dude, you had a 2 point, you went into you went into college, I'm gonna say with a 2.3 GPA. You are getting a full ride to college for the last 2 years. Like, your story in general should just be something that you should want to share with the world. Like, no, you don't need a 4.0 or 3.5 or all of these fancy grades for someone to believe in you. You have to have a work ethic, and people will give you money. You have to be a likable person. Like, you have to really be concerned about people. When you show up, you ask them, hey, how you doing today? And you really mean, how you doing today? Like, I taught my son that. I taught my kids that. Listen to someone when they're talking to you. Remember the conversations. I've talked to people before and they told me, I don't know how they got on their sister, right? this sister who a drug addict, can't keep a job, got kids. I mean, people tell me all types of things, right? And when I see them, because that was the majority of the conversation they had with me, I'm like, oh, how's your sister doing? And they look at me like, my sister? Like, yeah, your sister, the one you was sitting up there talking about for 15 minutes with me, you know? Like, yeah, how is she doing? You know, is she okay? When was the last time you talked to her? How's your niece and nephew doing? Like, I remember the conversation. Those are the things that I taught my children that you as a parent should be teaching your children. You should be actively engaged in what your child is doing. Like, I have to be somewhere now, right? Someone pointed out to me, oh, you like to follow the rules. Yeah, I do like to follow the rules. You want to know why? Because I'll end up being the one that don't follow the rules, and then I'm in trouble. And I don't like being in trouble. Like, I just don't. Like, let me follow the rules. Let me do what you said. And, let me get the results that I desire. So with this topic, I just want you to make sure that you understand with children, you have to make sure you find something that's right for your child. If your child is into arts and crafts, they should be in an art school, right? They should be taking art classes in the summer at the art museum. They should be into, you should be gearing them and enhancing their skill set. Like, that's what they should be doing. If your daughter is really smart or your child is really smart, they should be around other children that are very smart. Why would you put your smart kid in a school that's failing? Like, if the school is failing, doesn't mean that the teachers are failing, but it just means that there are a lot of unmotivated people in the school that are not really doing too much. They're not doing too much with their life. And that's the truth. If the school is excelling, they're getting an A based on the state report card or B, then they're meeting the needs of the students, and the students are interested in learning. But if the school is getting a D or an F on the state report card and your child is extremely smart, that's not the environment for your kid. Now, if your kid is good in sports, your kid is good in sports and they're smart, that's a decision you have to make. My son, I knew he's tried some of all different types of sports, but I knew he wasn't going to be the star basketball player because my son is good at building Lego. He was good at building. He was good at taking stuff apart, seeing how it worked, and then trying to put it back together, and it would never go back together. So I knew that I had to get my son Legos because that was what he was good at. Did he do soccer? Did he want to play soccer? Yes. Did he play football? Yes. Does he have a high school state championship ring? Yes, my son does. But the thing I'm coming to, but the thing is that I wanted to make sure that my son was able to, evolve, like he could fit into different environments, and that people accepted my son for who he was, that people accepted my daughter for who he was. I noticed that with my daughter, I didn't want her to be considered just so perfect, right? She's so smart, she's so cute, she's so this, she's so that. I know I spent less time as a mom telling her how smart she was and focused more on, oh, you're so pretty. And she used to think that that it was my job to tell her she was pretty. Like, girl, that is not my job. If you're not pretty, you're not pretty. I can't make something up in your head, and I can't make something up in my head. So it was my responsibility as her mother to tell her what she was good at, right? And I knew she was pretty. I knew my daughter was smart, but I needed her to know that she was smart. Not because I told her she was smart, but because when she went in a room, she knew the answer. She understood what was being said. She could explain to someone else what the teacher was talking about. So when you have children, it's just important that you find schools that complement them. And sometimes with my kids, I can honestly admit I had one kid on one side of the town and one kid on the other side of the town. I spent an hour of my day driving around my entire city to make sure that my children were in environments that were conducive for them. I deal with I deal with so many people who just place their kids in one school and they don't care if the school is right for their autistic child and their smart child and their kid that's struggling with reading. All they care about is all their kids go to one spot and it saves them time. Okay, I mean, what do you want me to talk to you about? I'm talking about kids in school and being a parent. I don't really know what to talk to you about because this is the topic that we're talking about. And I'm talking about how difficult it is as a parent to find a school that is right for your kid. But you have to find a school based on your child's personality because you want your child to thrive. Just like any other good parent would want their kid to thrive. If my kid is not good in arts and crafts, I shouldn't be sending them to an art school. If my kid is not that smart, I shouldn't be sending them to a school that's going to challenge them academically. Why? Because they're going to struggle. Now, if you're okay with your kid struggling, you send them where you should send them to an academically challenged school. I mean, but kids are kids, right? You know, if you're rebellious, it's very high that your child is going to be rebellious unless the other parent is not rebellious. I've noticed that in my adult life too, that I was very rebellious as a kid. And because I was rebellious, guess what? My kids ended up being rebellious too. And that's a spirit you have to break off, not only your life, but also your children's life. So if you are new here, make sure you comment, you like and subscribe to the channel. But most importantly, I want to tell you that if you do not know the Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, today is the day is to accept him into your heart. He loves you for who you are. There's nothing that you have done that could turn him away from you. His love is everlasting, but you have to give your life to Christ. You do, and you need to. But I'm not going to stay on much longer because I have to go be a mom myself, and I have to go support my daughter at her conference. So, if you didn't catch this, catch me tomorrow because I will definitely be on here talking again. Have a good night and take care.